Do you still have enough money to grab a burger like you used to? It sounds like a silly question, but right now, it's the unsettling reality across America. In less than a year, the price of many familiar burgers at major chains has shot up, with some jumping nearly 20% in just a few months. What makes this even more frustrating is that these price hikes aren't about better quality or service, but mostly about rising ingredient costs driven by backfiring tariffs. When companies choose to protect their profits instead of protecting their customers, the ones left paying the price are people like you, living on modest retirement checks or tightening the belt meal by meal. Don't skip this video if you want to see the 5 burgers that are climbing in price faster than most folks realize. This isn't just a story about cost. It's about a deeper shift in everyday American life. Number 1. Wendy's dynamic pricing. Have you ever imagined a day when the price of a burger changes like the price of gas? Every hour, a different number. Walk into Wendy's at 10 a.m. and a burger is $6. Come back at noon. Suddenly it's 7, maybe more. Not because the ingredients changed, not because supplies ran short, simply because you showed up during the lunch rush. That's no longer a theory. Since early 2025, Wendy's has officially rolled out digital menu boards that let them adjust prices in real time at each location. With an investment of $20 million, the stated goal was to modernize the customer experience. But in practice, it feels more like you're timing your burger the way you time a fill-up at the pump. And if you walk in at lunch or dinner, the peak hours, your burger quietly creeps up by a few extra cents, sometimes even a full $1. So who gets hit the hardest? Not young people, not tourists. It's people like you, those who budget every dollar each month. Retirees living on benefits, workers stuck with the same hourly pay. In the past, you knew exactly what a combo would cost. Now you don't. Everything feels unpredictable. Imagine heading to Wendy's to pick up lunch for the whole family. You've done the math and it just fits. But when you get there, the price has climbed because it's peak time. Suddenly, that meal you expected to cost $25 jumps to $30. For some, $5 isn't much. But for anyone living on a fixed budget, that means cutting back somewhere else. And the next day you start wondering again, should I even eat out? Do I dip into savings just to cover a fast food lunch? For Americans over 50, Wendy's used to be a safe choice. Familiar taste prices that didn't swing overnight. Now having to time your meal to get the cheapest rate turns a simple habit into an exercise in money management. Nobody wants stress over a burger. Yet Wendy's is making that happen. And the reason isn't a mystery. Beef imports from Canada, Mexico, and Brazil have all gotten more expensive under the new tariffs. Labor, shipping, and energy costs are climbing too. But instead of absorbing some of it, or giving loyal customers a break, Wendy's has pushed the risk onto the consumer. They're not raising prices in one big move. They're slicing it up hour by hour, making it harder for people to push back or even notice. That may be smart business strategy, but is it fair? The real question isn't whether you can still afford a burger. It's whether you still believe a burger is the affordable, everyday meal it once was. When the price shifts by the hour like a stock ticker, what you lose isn't just a few dollars. It's the sense of safety and trust in something familiar. And for many middle-aged Americans, that loss hits harder than the money. Number 2, Whopper. Do you remember the last time you had a Whopper? It's probably not because you got tired of it. It's because it just doesn't feel worth buying anymore. Nobody's saying it out loud, but across forums and consumer groups, middle-aged Americans are whispering the same thing: the Whopper is now overpriced and underwhelming. A Whopper combo can run as high as $11 in many states, up more than 20% from last year. But the bigger disappointment isn't just the cost. It's that feeling that the taste isn't what it used to be. The burger that once stood as the symbol of big, hearty, and satisfying now looks noticeably smaller. The patty is thin, like a slice of deli ham. The lettuce isn't crisp, the bun looks pale. Some people say eating a Whopper now feels like eating a stripped-down version that's missing something important. And the kicker is none of these changes come with a lower price. If anything, the price has climbed higher. Burger King won't come right out and say it, but people can see what's happening. The beef is slowly being swapped for blends with more fat and preservatives. The tomatoes are shaved paper thin. The mayo barely shows up. And if you order in-store, you sometimes have to look twice to tell a Whopper from a smaller burger. Sure, some might argue prices go up, that's normal. Fair enough. But is it fair when you're paying more and getting less? Not just less in size, but less in quality too. For many middle-aged Americans, this isn't just about lunch. The Whopper used to be a reliable, big, cheap, fast, and filling. Night shift workers, people rushing through short lunch breaks, or older folks living alone turned to it because it made sense. Now, instead of walking away full, they walk away with a sense of letdown. A truth is becoming harder to ignore. Burger King is quietly shifting its playbook. While the ads keep promising the same classic flavor, the actual product tells another story. To customers over 50 who've stuck with the brand for decades, that feels like betrayal. Higher prices, lower quality. What's left? No surprise that longtime customers are starting to walk away. They're not making a scene. They're not slamming counters or demanding refunds. They're just quietly not coming back. Sound familiar? That's how lifelong habits die. Not with anger, but with disappointment. The Whopper is still on the menu, but it isn't the Whopper you used to know. And the sad truth is, by the time you realize that it may not even feel worth mentioning anymore. Number 3. Double cheeseburger, Shake Shack. Have you ever wondered why a double cheeseburger, once the highlight of your weekend, now makes you hesitate? The truth is, without much noise, its price has already crossed the $10 mark, a threshold many people aren't willing to pay every time a craving hits. In several states, the listed price for a double cheeseburger is $10.49. Meanwhile, Shake Shack's Q2 2025 financial report shows they raised menu prices by about 3%, just enough to cover rising costs without scaring customers off too quickly. But don't think this is where it stops. While the company's goal is to expand its footprint and open dozens more locations, the steady price hikes shift the weight onto your meal. If you're not paying attention, that double cheeseburger could cost as much as or even more than a full meal at a small sit-down restaurant. What makes it worse is that with the higher price tag, plenty of customers feel the double cheeseburger doesn't deliver the same satisfaction it used to. The beef is still advertised as fresh, high quality, but as beef prices climb and Shake Shack carefully decides where to absorb or pass on costs, diners notice subtle changes that are hard to put a finger on. And the pressure isn't just about perception. According to The Sun, the surge in beef prices and overall inflation has forced chains like Shake Shack to make a choice, either cut quality or raise prices to protect profit margins. They chose the latter. So you're left with the same double cheeseburger you once believed was worth every penny, but now it costs more while somehow feeling less rewarding. For middle-aged customers, the ones who used to treat themselves to something a little fancy once a week, the decision now feels heavier. Ordering this burger is no longer just about enjoyment, it's about tightening the belt. A casual weekend outing with friends at Shake Shack used to be easy. Today you're asking yourself, is it really worth more than $10 for a burger when I could make something better at home? One Reddit user put it this way: a combo with a burger, fries, and a shake shouldn't cost over $20. A burger over $10 just isn't worth the quality anymore. That sums up the shift perfectly. It's not outrage, it's disappointment. A quiet nod of recognition that it's not the same. So is Shake Shack testing how far its loyal fans are willing to go? The numbers suggest yes. Revenue jumped nearly 13% in Q2 2025, but traffic slipped by about 1%, showing that higher prices are blurring the line between worth it and just convenient. And how are our middle-aged viewers reacting? Not with anger, but with a quiet acceptance that they may have to let go of a little weekend pleasure. On a fixed budget, the choice is no longer just whether to eat or not. It's whether to keep trusting a brand that once never let them down. That sense of comfort, that trust, is what's being shaken now. Number 4, Big Mac McDonald's. Have you ever opened the McDonald's app and thought, what's going on? When did this familiar burger turn into a luxury item? It's not in your head. A recent report from CashNet USA shows the price of a Big Mac now ranges from $4.67 to $6.72 depending on the state. That kind of jump is staggering, with prices climbing as much as 141% over the last 5 years. The Big Mac is no longer the cheap fast food option it once was, but something you have to think twice about before hitting order. So what does that mean for you? For many middle-aged Americans who still enjoy grabbing a Big Mac during a late lunch or taking their grandkids to McDonald's after school, the feeling isn't anger. It's disappointment. That once stable treat has turned into something that makes your wallet ache. McDonald's explains it away as higher costs being passed along while trying to preserve value, but the reality is more sobering. Between 2019 and 2024, the Big Mac went up 21%, outpacing consumer trust along the way. Think about it. The consumer price index rose about 23%, and the Big Mac nearly kept pace. Yet, you're paying almost double for something that was supposed to be affordable. Does that still feel respectful to you as a customer? And the gap is even sharper depending on where you live. In cities like Seattle, the average price hits $7.06, and in Springfield, $6.96. In Texas, on the other hand, it drops to $4.67, with Austin as low as $4.36. That kind of spread isn't just about cost of living. It shows how far the Big Mac has drifted from being a universal everyday food. McDonald's knows it's losing ground. Same-store sales in the U.S. fell 3.6% in the first quarter of 2025, the steepest drop since the pandemic. They've tried to win people back with under $5 menus or 2-for-1 combo deals, but franchise owners are worried about shrinking margins. For anyone living paycheck to paycheck, that should be a warning sign. For middle-aged customers, most of whom live on steady but limited income, even the Big Mac has become a calculation. If you used to buy one as a small treat for your grandchild after school, now you stop and ask, is it worth it? Not out of anger, but out of regret for a simpler time. And beyond the money, there's something heavier. Just the act of pressing order on a Big Mac and seeing the total climb higher each week creates a sense of financial unease. Small, yes, but enough to make you rethink a habit you've had for decades. McDonald's is still the easy choice, but pay attention when a meal now tops $10 in many places. That little midweek indulgence no longer fits the budget. After years of financial uncertainty, the real question isn't, do I want a Big Mac? But should I? And can I still trust it when the price keeps shifting this fast? Number 5, Texas Roadhouse. Remember when walking into Texas Roadhouse on a weekend felt like a promise? Eat well, eat plenty, and walk out without regret. Be careful now, because that burger at the steakhouse down the road isn't such a carefree treat anymore. According to a report from Finance Buzz, menu prices at Texas Roadhouse have climbed an average of 46% in the past 5 years. That's double the U.S. inflation rate of 22% and higher than other casual dining chains like IHOP or Waffle House. In short, burgers here have gotten noticeably more expensive. Why, in Q2 of 2025, Texas Roadhouse admitted it was facing higher costs, especially beef prices, up 5.2%, along with rising wages and labor costs at 3.8%. To keep profits steady, they raised menu prices by 1.4% in April and plan another 1.7% increase in Q4. Here's the interesting part. Even with higher prices, Texas Roadhouse reported revenue growth of 10 to 12%, with guest traffic up 3.5 to 5.8%. The numbers look strong, but what about how it feels to you sitting at that table? If you're middle-aged, you know dining out is supposed to feel like a simple pleasure, not a math problem. But when a burger with steak fries and rolls suddenly shows double digits on the menu, you can't help but pause. At checkout, you wish the increase really was just a small percentage like the company says. Instead, the bill adds up to the kind of total that makes you think, how did a basic meal get this expensive? Here's something people rarely point out. Texas Roadhouse built its reputation on value, promising an entree plus 2 sides and free bread. That's what made you feel like you were getting more than you paid for. But now, as burgers and combos creep up in price, that sense of saving fades. You still leave full, but that fullness comes with financial weight. And for those living on pensions or hourly wages, every extra dollar stings enough to make you ask, should I even eat out? Wouldn't it be smarter to cook at home? What makes it more complicated is that Texas Roadhouse is the largest casual dining chain in the country. They're opening more locations, even expanding their Jaggers brand, betting that people will keep spending even if it feels less comfortable. For someone like you that raises a tough question, does this company still respect my value as a customer? You're still showing up, but you're starting to feel taken advantage of. The reality is Texas Roadhouse continues to draw crowds thanks to quality and service. The revenue keeps climbing, the seats stay filled, but you're paying more than ever for an experience that used to feel like a special treat at a fair price. That extra cost sneaks up quietly, turning a weekend meal into a source of tension. So the question isn't just whether you want a burger at Texas Roadhouse anymore. It's whether you still believe in the promise of value, quality, and a full meal that once defined the brand. If every visit now requires careful budgeting, is it still worth sitting down at all? We're living in an America where even a burger has turned into a kind of luxury. This isn't only about rising prices. It's about trust being chipped away piece by piece. When meals that once felt familiar and easy now come with financial hesitation. Consumers, especially middle-aged workers and retirees, are rethinking every small decision in daily life. And what could be more troubling than this, when even the simplest choices are no longer within reach?
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.